Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. If you want 5-star ratings, Mad Marine has them from darn near every line of boat and motor they carry. And that's a lot. They're one of America's top boat dealers for selection and for price. And as I say, they have high marks from all of those makes and models that they carry. All those dealers, all those companies love Madisonville Marine because there's just not a better dealer around. Get down to Highway 411 North and you will find out why I and so many others say there's no better place to buy a boat, madmarine.com. All right, let's take a look at the top 10 yesterday in the college football playoff rankings. It was a good day for Tennessee. 4 teams in front of you lose. Ohio State's not going to fall behind you, but you would think LSU with a third loss, probably taking a 4th one against Georgia, they're going to fall behind you. Clemson and Oregon are going to fall behind you. I don't think Penn State, Kansas State, or Washington, who are waiting the wings, are going to jump above you. So you would think, at worst, Tennessee's probably looking at number 7 right now in the final polls. And the interesting thing is, we'll just leave that up there for you to look at it for a second. We've been talking on the show about Sugar Bowl being a possibility and how much Tennessee's ticket sales could help that. That's my fault. The rules have changed. The Music City Bowl and Duke's Mayo Bowl, they may be able to say, hey, we want this team because they bring more crowd. Those big bowls no longer have any say whatsoever. So if the committee decided to send LSU and Tulane to the Sugar Bowl, which would be their worst case scenario, it's not going to happen. But if they chose that as an example, they just have to take it. So ticket sales have nothing to do with it. It's simply about the college playoff rankings. The committee just puts you where you are going to go play. So let's take a look at the remaining games coming up next week that will have an impact on all this. You still got some opportunities for other teams to lose in front of you. Southern Cal still has a game against Utah. The Big 12 Championship, TCU still has to play Kansas State. The SEC title game, Georgia and LSU up there, they're not going to, even if Georgia loses, they're not dropping behind you. The AAC, well, that could affect you because you could play one of those teams in the Cotton Bowl if that's where you go. Big 10 Championship, Michigan could lose. They're not going to fall behind you at this point. ACC Championship, Clemson, North Carolina already behind you. All right. As of today, Tennessee looking at number 7. We all agree with that one?
Yes.
At
Yes,
worst?
yeah.
It's possible you get to 6. I don't see Ohio State with 1 loss dropping below you, but anything's possible. What will the top 4 be this week in the playoffs? Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Southern Cal?
I think so. I think, yeah. Yep.
I went last night and saw on ESPN they had like 17 guys who all gave their opinions, and it was everyone had that exact same match.
Yes.
So Ohio State's completely out, and Bama hasn't leapt back in.
So that was everybody's opinion?
Everybody.
So it probably means Ohio State's 4. But, but I agree with you guys.
All right. If Alabama is out of the play, and right now Tennessee should be pulling for Alabama. If you want the Sugar Bowl, the way it breaks down is Georgia's the only team in the playoff. Then the next highest rated SEC team that doesn't make the playoff goes to the Sugar Bowl. Has nothing to do with tickets, nothing. Sugar Bowl can't even say, can you please give us? No, doesn't happen. So Alabama, if they don't make the playoff, goes to the Sugar. If Tennessee wants the Sugar, hope Alabama somehow makes the playoff. Want that chaos on Championship Saturday and then see Alabama get in the playoff, which would frustrate Tennessee fans, and some would say, why aren't we in there? Why are they going? But that would move you up into the Sugar Bowl. You would be the highest rated team. As it stands right now, you're looking at possibly being slotted to the Orange Bowl versus the winner of the ACC title game, Clemson, North Carolina, or Cotton Bowl versus the winner of Tulane and UCF, a game that Josh Heupel and Danny White probably wouldn't want to see, seeing as how they came from UCF. Thoughts, Cotton or Orange? Is that what we're thinking at the moment, or is it down to those two?
I think it is. I think Tennessee's assured itself of the New Year's Six Bowl with what they've done and projected to be number 7 in the college football playoff ranking. So they don't fall out of that. What I don't know is that when the Orange Bowl is assigned the ACC champion, does the Cotton Bowl get the next pick, or does the Cotton Bowl not pick anybody
They don't get a pick.
until or assigned?
Yeah.
Are all those other games assigned before the Cotton Bowl is assigned any team? And if they're not assigned any team until the very end, then Tennessee's going to go to the, I would think, to the Orange Bowl. If they are assigning teams, then Tennessee could end up in the Cotton Bowl.
They could wind up in the Cotton Bowl. And there were people last night still saying the Sugar Bowl, but again, I don't see that happening unless Alabama jumps all the way into the playoff. May I borrow this for a second?
Sure.
All right. If you want to know why this isn't clear, let's explain. This is from the SEC's own breakdown on how an SEC team can go to the Orange Bowl. When the Orange Bowl is not a semifinal game and an SEC team is the highest-ranked team by the College Football Playoff Selection Committee among the non-champions of the SEC and Big Ten, and ranked higher than Notre Dame after the college football semifinal games have been filled, then that team will participate. Yeah, okay, you get the drill. It's nonsense. I need to call Garza Law to come in and break that down for us. So I would guess, and it looks like most of the projections this morning have bumped Tennessee up a line. With LSU dropping, it looks like most projections have Tennessee to the Orange Bowl. Is that a good breakdown? Is that what you would?
I think the Orange Bowl, and I just want to be clear, there's no way they would end up in the Citrus Bowl.
No, you'd have to.
No, so you'd have
not
to.
really,
Okay,
yeah.
so I think the Orange Bowl. I think they would be an attractive team for the Orange Bowl, but like you said, does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, you'd be playing Clemson, North Carolina. I think if it comes down to who you're playing, I'd rather play Clemson, North Carolina winner than I would UCF Tulane.
Oh,
if you lose to Clemson,
yes.
people won't be happy, but that's a whole different level of unhappy offseason if you
No.
lose to Tulane or UCF.
Or
Justin.
UCF.
As a coach, as you guys are talking about this, I think this must be what it feels like when people listen to me talk about switch verts, matching that. Because these are things as a coach that you don't at all know about because you don't at all worry about. You have no control over it. I know coaches try to get on camera or whatever and pitch for their team, but in this case, you don't have any control. Unfortunately, it's a great bowl, whichever one you go to. All the ones we've mentioned, they're great bowls, great experiences, great atmospheres for the kids. Unfortunately, it is opt-out season.
Yep.
And usually, whether it be New Year's Six bowls or further, obviously more when it's the lesser bowls, the team that got you to that bowl is not the team that plays in that bowl game. And so I think it's great for the fans, it's great for the trip, it's great for the experience, but don't expect to see the same team you watched all season long.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about that over the next 2 or 3 weeks, that these bowl games are more exhibition than they've ever been at this point.
Yes.
They shouldn't, nobody's going to listen to me, but the bowl result should no longer sway your view of the season anymore. That's like Dan Mullen had a good year at Florida a few years ago, and he went to the Sugar Bowl and he had 15 guys that didn't play.
Yeah.
And they got beat and the fans were ticked off.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, if
you've
you're
got the JVs, what are you doing?
If you're Jalen Hyatt, what do you have to prove?
No, yeah.
If something like
Orange
what
Bowl.
happened to Hendon Hooker at South Carolina happens in a bowl game.
Yes.
Tillman won't
Or
play.
Cedric Tillman, yeah.
Yeah, Tillman won't play. Hyatt won't play. You got to, does a Jeremy Banks play? I mean, you got to wonder about anybody that thinks they have any kind of pro potential.
Yeah, and you can't tell them what to do.
All right. Orange, best scenario?
I would say that's the best scenario, and for fans, they probably prefer going to sunny Florida. So that's what fans
Over
are probably-
Arlington, Texas in January? Are you
Yeah.
kidding?
Even if they view the Cotton Bowl as a more winnable game, but then everything you just laid out makes that even difficult to quantify too.
Play Clemson, wear your orange helmet.
Yeah, and
Just look, you both look exactly.
Nobody will know who's
fans
who.
want a piece of Dabo.
When we come back, let's continue this discussion and discuss base scenarios for the fans and for the players. We'll bring our players out and discuss that. We got a lot more to come on this show. Coming back on the Sports Source.